viewers, and welcome to the first UUDD video review. Today I'm reviewing Bulletstorm, the latest release from Epic and People Can Fly.
The man really sinks into work.
So what exactly is Bulletstorm? Well, if it was a recipe, it would be 4 parts 80s action movie, 2 parts Michael Bay, a dash of the Marquis de Sade, and oven-baked at gas-mark fun for between 8 to 10 hours, which is around as long as a single-player campaign takes. You play as Grayson Hunt, captain of a group of space mercenaries who you first meet as you drunkenly torture a bounty hunter who has tried to bring you in. However, things soon turn sour, and you're quickly given a lesson in sobriety as you come across a ship containing one General Serrano, an old acquaintance who Grayson bears one hell of a grudge towards. Cue a very one-sided battle between your little shuttlecraft and Serrano's massive battle cruiser, and in a last-ditch attempt to take the General down, you blast straight through his ship, crippling it, before crash-landing on the nearby planet of Stygia. Things soon get a whole lot worse as your badly injured friend Ishii is turned into some kind of psychotic cyborg in an attempt to save him. Your ship gets attacked by a bunch of savage humanoid creatures, and you discover that Serrano, along with a whole load of his crack troops, have also made it to the planet's surface in escape pods. From here, it's a race against time to reach the General, who has called in a rescue ship, and get your crusty asses off the planet. One of the first pickups you'll get is called the Leash. It's a kind of wrist-attached electronic whip which you use to wrap around enemies and fling them around the landscape while you murder them in painfully amusing and bloody ways. This will become your new best friend on Stygia and unlocks the meat of the game, skill shots.
Hey, sexy. Come here. Ooh, got some weight over here. Engines are primed.
Unlike your typical first-person shooter, Bulletstorm isn't just about killing your enemies, it's about killing them as fashionably and as gracefully as possible. The more flair you put into your kills, the more points you get. And the more points you get, the more you can unlock and buy from the drop kits that are dotted around the levels. For instance, just headshotting an enemy may get you 25 points. But if you kick or blast them onto some spiky scenery, you get a whole load more. And for even more points, try wrapping a flail around an enemy and then kicking them against spiky scenery to boost your score even more. Kill more than one enemy in a single skill shot, and they act as a multiplier, boosting your score even further. There are 8 weapons in total, each with a standard fire mode and a charged fire mode that not only powers up your shots, but also unlocks a whole new set of skill shots. There are 135 skill shots in total, and the fun lies in finding them all. While the skill shots are hilariously entertaining in themselves, they're nowhere near as amusing as the dialogue. You can't go for more than 2 minutes without someone being called a dick, or an ass pussy, or my personal favourite, a sun-baked asshole. The abuse flies thick and free in Bulletstorm, with everyone seemingly taking elocution lessons from Eddie Murphy in the Beverly Hills Cop movies.
You're making me blush, body mouth.
But are these flashy kills and schoolyard name-calling all that Bulletstorm has to offer? Thankfully, no.
It's a murder party starring me!
Underneath its gore-covered, abuse-filled veneer is a deep and serious storyline. Grayson and his crew originally served as Serrano's personal assassins, and he soon discovers that hundreds of innocent people have died at his hands, and not the slave runners and the murderers he had previously thought. Furious at this innocent blood on his hands, thus begins Grayson's quest for revenge, and possibly some kind of twisted redemption. And while Ishii is Grayson's companion throughout the game, he is also a constant reminder of the damage his actions have caused. After being pretty much blown apart at the start of the game, Ishii managed to survive by having the ship's doctor replace most of his body parts with cybernetic extensions. Unfortunately, Ishii's mind and the robotic AI in the extensions often fight against each other, causing a lot of distress to Ishii. Grayson is very much aware of this, and you can see in certain scenes of the game that this is torturing him on the inside, yet fueling his quest for vengeance even more.
Crush his throat! Dead in the hands of his oldest chum! Better than I ever dreamed!
Poor man and machine. You can break control. You can beat the AI.
I cannot. I cannot stop it. Do not make me do this.
I don't hold you accountable.
Every now and then, the game will throw a boss at you just to break up the action. Sometimes these are heavily armoured nutters with extremely powerful weapons, but other times the boss battles are insane. An early boss battle sees you being chased by a massive mining wheel on a railway track. Later bosses include a giant plant that actually eats Ishii, and my personal favourite, an airborne battle against what appears to be Godzilla's pissed off big brother.
Nasty gash on the back of its head. Unload on it!
But let's not dwell on the single player mode too much. What about multiplayer modes? Well, you have two options. Echoes mode is basically a scoring run, where you simply revisit short areas of levels you visited in an attempt to rack up as high a score as possible. Your score is then added to a global leaderboard and, well, that's about it really. That said, there isn't anything sweeter than being better than your friends at games, is there really? Anarchy mode is the mode where your Bulletstorm skills really come in handy, as you and up to 3 friends get together and fight wave after wave of enemy and achieve as high a score as possible, hopefully enough to progress to the next stage. Every now and again an enemy will appear that requires teamwork to take out, the most common one being the need for one person to leash and then kick an enemy skywards, and another to blow him out of the sky like some kind of freak clay pigeon. Unfortunately, I'm filming this during the great PSN drought of April 2011, so I can't get online to show it to you, but trust me, with friends who know what they're doing, this is great fun. Be advised, however, this game requires the use of an EA online pass. You can pick one up on the relevant store if you buy it pre-owned, but it will cost you extra. And what about the soundtrack to this rollercoaster ride? Well, Epic recently released the soundtrack for free, and you can find the link in the video description below. The music in-game really fits with the suburban jungle, holiday resort overrun by psychotic cannibal setting of the game, and it often sounds like the kind of music you get in, say, The Rock, you know, with Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery. It's that kind of music, and it works incredibly well here. So, in summation, is Bulletstorm worth picking up at all? Well, its story won't be picking up any awards for outstanding writing anytime soon, and the characters all have oversized egos and mouths that could make a sailor blush, and the skillshot system may get old quickly for some people. That said, if you're after the kind of balls-to-the-wall fun that makes you giggle like an excited schoolchild, and you've got around 10 hours and £35 or so to spare, then believe me, you can do a whole lot worse than Bulletstorm.
Sluggo's pissing on the engine.
Some people have called Bulletstorm a guilty pleasure, but I personally see no guilt in it whatsoever. It's what it says on the tin. It wears its heart on its sleeve. It's nothing but digitised, concentrated fun. And unless you're one of these Call of Duty Medal of Honor diehard fans who just loves barking orders to squad members, I honestly can't see anyone not having fun with this game. For me, it's one of the rare gems of 2011, and at the very least, a must-rent for everybody. So, how would I score Bulletstorm? Well, if I was to use your usual standards, I'd give the graphics 8 out of 10. They're not great, but they're far from bad. The music and the sound, I'd have to give a 9. This is a rarity for me, as a video game soundtrack that I actually listen to on a regular basis. Gameplay, I'd have to give a 9 again. It's just so bloody fun to play, and while I can see people eventually getting bored of it, I think it'll be a long time before that even happens. Longevity, I'd give it an 8. Echoes is more than enough to keep a solo player going after the single player completion, and Anarchy mode is amazing fun, provided that you've got friends who also play it. And there's already DLC out there with more maps, costumes, and even leash colours to push its lifespan further. So in total then, that works out at about 8.5. It's one of the better games of 2011, and I think it's one that nobody should miss out on.
You got any ideas? Took the goddamn bridge out! The brakes! For the love of God, hit the fucking brakes!
They're out! The brakes are out! You hear me?
Wish like hell I didn't!